The Bloodstone Chronicles, Book 1, A Darker Sun, by David Inkling. Chapter 19, Underground. Millowena waits. She rests and stays hidden until she hears Elisa's familiar step on the path, and then slowly she forces herself to move. She stands up, walks out of the camellia bush, and carefully makes her way to the door of her sister's house. She steps into the Helm kitchen. The shattered remnants of the home are strewn around her niece's feet, and Elisa is staring aghast at the smashed rocking chair. She watches as her niece, exhausted and devastated from the night's events, collapses, and she steps forward to catch her in her arms. But she is too frail still, and weighed down, she crumples on the floor, cradling her niece. "Elisa, Elisa," she whispers. Then with a growing concern she says, "Elisa, wake up. We must go. They will return soon. The guard are coming. We must leave." The noise of someone approaching startles her, and she turns expecting the worst, but is relieved to see Tom's beaming face. "It's only me," he says. "I can't go home. They've sealed the door." Then he looks around and sees the destruction. His face drops, and he stares at the unconscious Elisa. "She fainted," Millowena says. "But we must move. They've taken her parents, and we've only got a few moments. They'll be back any second to seal this house too, I'm sure. Can you help me, Tom?" He moves forward and supports Elisa so that Millowena stands. "Take this too," she says, passing him the carpet bag. "I must retrieve something." Millowena stumbles to the fireplace, and there on the mantelpiece is a picture. "They missed this one," she says, smiling a little. It is a picture of herself, younger, almost girlish still, with long tresses of fair hair decorated with flowers. It had been painted onto what is now very yellowed paper, and the image has faded. "It wasn't the best picture of me, if I may say so," she says, and lifts the frame. She smashes this one herself, opens the back, and takes out a folded parchment. "Here, Tom, you take this. You'll need it." Tom opens the parchment to reveal a diagram, a few marks, mostly just shapes and unfamiliar lines. "What is it?" "It's a map," Millowena says, "and you'll be joining it there," she says, pointing to a large dot next to a broken and stuttering line. Elisa has begun to recover slightly now and sits up staring, but she is clearly dazed. "Aunt Millowena? Oh, at least you're safe." "Yes, Elisa, but we must leave immediately. Come," she says, and takes her niece's hand, pulls her to her feet. Where are we going?" "Just follow me, quickly and quietly." Millowena strides away with a sudden and new-found energy. Pocketing the map, Tom helps Elisa, and they follow out of the door into the growing light of the day. They move quietly, keep away from the paths, stay close to the edge of the fields, slide below the trees where it is heavily shaded from the morning sun. Millowena leads them across the rear field, and they soon approach the copse where her own ground well is nestled in the trees out of sight. "I'm sure they'll be back and find me here soon. They're searching everywhere. There's so little time," Millowena says. "Have either of you eaten recently?" she asks Tom. "Only fudge." "Fudge?" Millowena says in disbelief. "Well, we were at the baker's and Tubal kept giving it to us. It helped at the time, to be honest," Tom replies. He suddenly feels the inadequacy of this breakfast, of sugar, and the emptiness of his stomach concurs with a loud rumbling groan. "Eat this, now," Millowena says, and passes the children a nutritious dried cake that contains fruit, nuts, and oats. "And fill this bag from the cupboard," Millowena says. She opens a large wooden cupboard on the wall that is stocked with delicacies. Tom takes a loaf wrapped in paper and a tin labelled cake. There is fresh fruit too, apples and some pears. Then he grabs a net of nuts and dried fruits and stuffs as much as he can into the carpet bag. "How much do I take?" he says. Oh, that's more than enough, dear," Millowena says, putting 2 bottles of water into the bag and removing the cake. "Sorry, but that's a bit stale. You wouldn't like it anyway. It was an experiment to cut down the sweetness, to be honest. I don't really like it." Her cat appears and purrs, demands attention by brushing his back against Millowena's legs. "Not now, Tobias," she says. "Where was I now? Oh yes, let's get going," she says. "We have important things to do." Tom watches as Elisa's aunt pulls back a large carpet and exposes a trapdoor. It opens into a deep basement. "Follow me," she says as she raises the door and steps down the dense wooden steps. Tobias mews and follows, skipping from step to step. The basement is a single room of about 6 paces square. There are shelves of fruit, pickles, and other preserves, a number of small casks, and an extremely large barrel. It is massive, lying on its side in a wooden frame, printed with the words Dale Mount Vineyard. She approaches the cask and releases a catch. It opens and the barrel splits into 2, so that the front half forms a door. The barrel's first half is deep and filled with wine, to obscure a cavity behind. "This is the dot, Tom. This doorway will take you into the old tunnels that—" "Old tunnels?" Tom says. "Yes, they run deep under the valley. Look at the map I gave you. It will show you the network. It is quite deep in places and not all of the routes have been mapped, so take care to stay on the path. At other times, the passages are near the surface, so do not make a lot of noise. You never know who is overhead. All you need to do is follow this passageway here. You'll have to crawl the first bit, I'm afraid. I dug that bit myself, and it was big enough for my needs. It isn't far to the proper tunnels, which are much better." "Aren't you coming with us?" Elisa says, shocked. "No, my dear. I must stay here and try to act as if everything is quite normal. They will be coming back to speak to me at least. I'll delay them as you get away, but move quickly, for they will come after you. They won't want me to go along with them, I'm sure. I'm really of little use to them now, but I can keep them occupied while you get going, so don't worry about me." "What about Ned?" Tom says. "Ned?" Millowena asks. "Who's Ned?" "Our friend," Elisa says. "He went home to Upper Glendow, and we said we'd meet him." "Where?" Millowena asks. "Anywhere near the green fields. We said we'd meet him up at Stumpy, the old man, up at the Weathered Stone." "Oh, I see. Well, you should be all right if you stay out of sight. You'll need to turn right when you get to the main passageway after this tunnel. But after you find him, promise me you will not travel overland for the next few days. Stay together, stay hidden, and make your way to the caves just there. You can rest safely there. Use the map. If you get lost in the tunnels, you may never get out. Now come along. It's time. Be on your way." "But we can't just go. We need to talk," Elisa says suddenly. "What about Mama and Dada? And what about Tom's uncle?" "I will do what I can for them. Do not worry. But all you need to do is keep what is in the carpet bag safe and hidden." "What is it?" "I'm fairly sure it is Celia and Dahlia's Spot's bloodstones. If I'm right, they'll want them again sooner or later. So look after them. Do not lose them or throw them away. They are not yours to lose. You may well be able to return them to the twins yourself one day. and they will be indebted to you forever, I'm sure. And Elisa, when you do find your own bloodstone, please keep it safe. It is everything there is and can be." She looks across at Tom then, and he smiles radiantly. "So, you got yours back then, Thomas? Good, I'm pleased." "How did you know?" Elisa says. "Look at his eyes. They've been glowing since I saw him walk into your mother's kitchen. And he's a red too. My, what an unexpected blessing. And to think you threw it away just like that. How innocent. How sweet." "Well, I won't be throwing it away again in a hurry," he says, and his face glows even redder. "I should think not. You'll be needing it in the tunnel, that's for sure," Millowena adds, and she pauses. "And was there a successful offering at Stone Wishing, Elisa?" Elisa goes silent. She lowers her head and looks away from Millowena's gaze. "So you still have it then, child?" she asks. "You knew, didn't you? You knew I wouldn't part with it, Millowena." I froze. Something stopped me. I wanted to cast it right up to the last moment, and then I just couldn't. It seemed such a waste. And then it didn't seem to matter anyway, as the strangest thing happened. The moon moths did something quite wonderful. They danced and glowed like a bright ball and acted as if I'd actually thrown the stone, as if I'd made the sacrifice. And they knew I really wanted to. They became my wish. They saved Grandma's stone. They let me keep it. Elisa puts her hand into her coat and takes out the pearlescent corn that holds her grandma's stone. They made a propitiation of themselves, didn't they? A substitute, Millowena says. "I still have it, here," Elisa says. "Yes, Elisa, but you've got it wrong, I'm afraid. It was Tom they saved. It was his bloodstone that they helped you retrieve. It is never simply the stones, Elisa. It is the life in the stone. You may hang on to your grandma's memorial a little longer, to treasure for some days, perhaps even longer. But you will need to offer it up when the time comes. You'll need to let it go." "Okay, so here it is," she says. "I said I'd return it, and here it is. Take it." And she holds up the open corn with the stone nestled inside. "Oh, well done, my dear. You remembered the corn," Millowena says with a breath of relief. Yes, I tried to. And nearly messed that up too, but actually it was Ned who remembered," Elisa says. "I'm not doing too well, am I? I was so distracted with all that was happening. I nearly left it behind. But the moon moths were amazing, and it all happened so... She stops and looks at her aunt. She doesn't need to speak. Millowena is smiling at her niece's unfolding emotions. She places a hand gently on her cheek, and the anxiety fades. "And now the stone is doubly blessed for you, so you must keep it just a little longer, to remind you that hope is never lost. All things work to the good, you will see. Keep it until you do not need it anymore." "I see," Elisa says. "But you must take the box, at least, Aunt, please. Here, I can find a new corn. The box must be yours." And she takes the stone and passes the empty corn to her aunt. "It was your mother's, and so you must have it." As Millowena opens her hand, she smiles and closes her eyes in peace. "Bless you, Elisa," she says. "You may just about have saved me. I felt as if I was beginning to fade." The box sits in her palm, where it glows with the palest blue-white light. There is no source of this light to reflect off the white inlaid pattern, but still the design shines and glows, and then Millowena opens her eyes wide. With a great intake of breath, She inhales the light, and her smile is magnificent. Her eyes gleam. "This will help me," she says. "This will help a great deal. Thank you, Elisa. Now goodbye, Thomas, Elisa. May my blessings and all blessings be with you at each moment." Then she kisses her niece on the forehead and steers her towards the barrel. "We must pray that our next meeting is not too far off. But for now you must go," she says, and she opens an inner circular hatch in what would have been the bottom of the barrel, and a dark, narrow space appears. It is no bigger than the barrel itself. They crawl in and look back. The last thing Elisa sees of her aunt is the bright smile on her face, as if the troubles of the last day have never happened. Tobias sits by her patiently, his blue eyes shining. He mews loudly, then the doorway closes, and all light is gone. There is a mechanical click. It sounds like an ordinary lock, but it is followed by a soft hiss, and a low hum reverberates as a pale blue light moves around the rim of the doorway. "It's sealed," Tom says, "and now we're stuck in the dark, and we can't see a thing." "Tom," Elisa says, "you have your stone, don't you?" "Oh yes," he says, and takes it out. As soon as it emerges, the red light from it glows and lights up the small passage. They look ahead and see the dim, small tunnel lit with a rosy light. The grey rock of the walls seem warmer and friendlier in the gleam, but there are occasional roots that hang down through the soil and layers of rock around them, as if they are in some great subterranean intestine and have been swallowed up. They move off, crawling carefully, Tom at the front, holding the light and pushing the great carpet bag ahead. Elisa follows behind. The loose grit and dust on the floor of the tunnel is rough, and the occasional stone digs into them. They have only gone a few paces when there is an ominous, low and gentle rumbling, and the ground shakes. Tom looks behind them and sees the floor of the tunnel shaking vigorously. The stone and the grit in the path is vibrating. It jumps, becomes more and more agile, moving as if it is being pulled. Tom's bloodstone lights up too, brighter, so they see the stones around them glow brightly in the reflected light, and the tiny pieces of rock begin to move. "Is this safe?" Elisa asks. "Perhaps we should move away." Tom grins, pauses, and watches. The animated stones seem to swirl or dance and form an ordered grouping and move together until they merge and meld in a kind of molten mass. They swirl up in a liquid wave that twists itself as it reforms and smooths over the end of the tunnel. Then it is static. The wave freezes into a wall of rock. The doorway is completely obscured. "Well, it's definitely sealed now," says Tom. "There's no going back that way, or coming in," Elisa adds, with relief. It is hard work moving in the narrow tunnel. Tom pushes and they crawl on deeper. The ground drops at a slow but steady incline before it levels out. Then after a few turns, they reach another route that cuts across their path. They emerge and drop down into a bigger passageway. Here the tunnel has been refined, carved by some great force rather than hacked out of the rock, and the floor is a pathway of stone that is shaped and smooth. They stand up and brush themselves off. Even the roots that had pierced the roof of the tunnel are sparse, barely breaking through. They are whiter and clean looking, so that the tunnel looks as if it has hairs or strands of fur hanging in places from the ceiling. "So," says Tom, looking at the map, "it was right, wasn't it?" "Yes," Elisa says. Let's go and find Ned.